Hello dear kids, welcome back to the social science class. Today we will learn a new chapter from civics, urban livelihoods. And today in this chapter we will discuss about the occupation of people in urban areas. Millions of people live in cities such as Bangalore, then Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata and so on and so forth. These people earn their livelihood in variety of ways, right? And so let us have a look into the mind map. In this chapter we are discussing about the different types of occupation in urban areas. Then what is the difference between primary, secondary and tertiary occupations? Then why people migrate from rural to urban areas. The needs of urban areas are different from those of rural areas. It's entirely different. While people in rural areas, in villages, earn their livelihood through agriculture, forestry, fishing, etc. People in rural areas, urban areas, earn their livelihood through a variety of other occupations pursued in the urban areas. Okay, so there are different categories of occupations. Let us see types of occupations: primary, secondary and tertiary. So let us see what is primary occupations. Occupations based on deriving useful goods from natural resources are called primary occupations, like agriculture, mining, forestry, cattle rearing and fishing are a few examples of primary occupations, and these occupations are mostly followed in rural areas. And what about secondary occupations? Those occupations which require processing of raw materials produced by primary occupations and their conservation into utility products are termed as secondary occupations. What are the examples? Agricultural produce of cotton is used by the textile manufacturing industries to produce cloths, or minerals taken out of the mining process are also used in various industries like iron and steel. So these are the secondary occupations. And what about tertiary occupations? The occupations which provide various services to the people are termed as tertiary occupations. How? For example, like me, teaching, then nursing, banking, railways, transport, trade and so on. So these are the three types of occupations. So let us see, working on the streets. You might have noticed the people working on the streets, right? So in the description of a city or like Delhi or Kolkata and Bangalore, we frequently find mention many people who work and probably live on the streets. And among such people we find rickshaw pullers, then auto rickshaw drivers, then and street vendors in particular, right? These people work on their own and organize themselves to be able to procure for themselves and material they require for their occupations. For example, the street vendors selling food usually prepare it with the help of their family members, while other vendors selling goods have to plan how much to purchase and as well as where it is to set up their shops. Okay, where to set up their shops, these are their plans. And shops of such vendors are generally makeshift structures which can be dismantled anytime, one place to another. It's easy. And you might have noticed a roadside tikka wala. Okay, aloo tikka wala, for example. While they have only a cart as his shop, on which he places a small cylinder and utensils to make tikki, right? Then he sleeps at night on the same cart. And these vendors have no security and can move only in some areas. However, they form a bulk of the population working on the streets. In fact, there are more than 10 million street vendors in the country who are working in towns and cities. And street vendors or hawkers are an important part of the urban economy, and as they have been providing different services and goods to the middle and lower middle class urban population for the decades. Tea hawkers on small crossings and intersections offer a social gathering place where the people and middle class population assemble and share their thoughts and experience over a cup of tea. Right? Therefore, efforts have been made to recognize street vendors or vending as a means of livelihood and to protect them from harassment by police or civil bodies. And the Street Vendors Act 2014. The Street Vendors Act 2014 protects the rights of the street hawkers and provides them a vending zone wherever is possible. And nowadays, business. A major occupation in the cities is that of businesses. Several people in the city are businessmen or business women. These people either own or rent a shop for business purposes. For example, a businessman dealing in ready-made garments may set up a big showroom if he has good capital to invest, or he may set up a small shop for his business. In both cases, he either invests the money all by himself or takes a loan for the government or from the government. Such people are known as self-employed people because they work for themselves and on their own. And they in turn employ a member of people who work as supervisors and helpers. Such people register themselves with the municipal corporation and receive a license to do business. Okay, and next is regular employment. What is regular employment? Most of the offices, factories, industries, government departments, banks, etc. employ people on a regular basis. Okay, they are known as regular or permanent employees. They are given a regular salary at the end of the month, and they go to the same office every day, and their work is clearly known to them, and they can expect their jobs to continue for a long time. To such workers, the company also provides certain benefits like pension. Pension means what? A part of the salary kept aside as savings to be given with interest when the employees retires as a monthly pay. Okay, after the retirement, they used to get the pension every month. Then medical facilities. They also get medical facilities and also holidays. Therefore, most of the office goers that we see around are regular employees. Next is wage earners. Wage earners, unlike the people who regularly go to the office, there are also people who get work on a day-to-day basis. They are daily laborers who work as helpers or masons. Factory workers like those who stitch garments or process in mineral water bottles, right? Then construction workers, then who else? Yes, painters, carpenters, stone cutters and sanitary workers. All these are known as what? Day to day. They are working day to day basis, right? And these people do not get a salary at the end of the month, but get a daily wage. Okay, and then employment for them is not of a permanent nature. When a particular employer requires them, they are called upon. Otherwise, they remain jobless. And there is no job security for them, and they cannot ask for the benefits that a permanent employee enjoys. Moreover, their working hours are very long and the payment is less. Because of the nature of their job, they are known as casual workers. Okay, and now we can discuss the last point, migration from village to cities. So before moving to this topic, let's have a look into the story. A story of two people, two migrants. It's there in your textbook. The character is Raju and his brother Shankar. Okay, so both of them came to Delhi 2 years ago. From a small village in Uttar Pradesh, and there they used to work as landless laborers. Then their maker income and uncertainty of the job. Okay, very less income and uncertainty of the job pushed them towards the city. Okay, and after reaching Delhi, Raju started working at a tea stall. Then Raju's day starts at 6:30 a.m. and he serves tea to the people throughout the day without a break. And he earns 2,000 rupees per month. This was his salary. And what about Shankar? Shankar works at a construction site from 8 o'clock in the morning till 7:30 in the evening. And he earns 100 rupees per day. 100 rupees per day. Both Raju and Shankar live in tents with others in a similar condition when they left their homes and villages to find jobs in the cities. Okay, they came from the village to the cities in order to seek or searching for a job. Then after paying for the food and transport, at the end of the month they are left with very little savings. They send the saving to their poor parents. They send these savings to their poor parents who also work as agricultural laborers. Okay, so the story of Raju and Shankar is very common one. In all the big cities, we find several people like them who leave their homes or villages to find better opportunities in the big cities. But most of them end up working as street vendors, vegetable sellers, then chai walas, or as very less paid factory workers or domestic helpers. This influx of people from outside into the city is termed as migration. Okay, moving from one place to another in order to search or in search of jobs. However, this movement of people from the villages to towns also places a burden on the cities as they have to cater to the basic demands of this increasing population. Migrant population lives in slums. On the positive side, migration opens a link between the rural and urban areas. And it leads to prosperity of the urban and rural areas. Rural people are able to save and send some money to their dependents in the villages to save them from starvation, and urban people benefit them by employing their services. Okay, so dear kids, before going to wind up the lesson, let's have a look into the video in which you can understand the comparison between a rural life and the urban life of the people. So let's have a look.
इश्क शोलों की डगर, इश्क कांटों का सफर, इश्क कर दे बेसबर, इश्क कर दे बेखबर, इश्क गुमनाम कर दे, इश्क बदनाम कर दे, जो छुपाए ना छुपे, इश्क वो काम कर दे। जिसमें शरारे हैं इश्क वो छाया है, वो जिसमें शरारे हैं इश्क वो छाया है।
इश्क दीवानों को किस मोड़ पे लाया है, आंख भर आई है, दिल घबराया है,
ओ आंख भर आई है, दिल घबराया है।
ये जो देश है तेरा, स्वदेश है तेरा, तुझे है पुकारा। ये वो बंधन है जो कभी टूट नहीं सकता। ये जो देश है तेरा, स्वदेश है तेरा, तुझे है पुकारा। ये वो बंधन है जो कभी टूट नहीं सकता। मिट्टी की है जो खुशबू तू कैसे भुलाएगा, तू चाहे कहीं जाए तू लौट के आएगा। नई नई राहों में, दबी दबी राहों में, खोए खोए दिल से तेरे कोई ये कहेगा। ये जो देश है तेरा, स्वदेश है तेरा, तुझे है पुकारा। ये वो बंधन है जो कभी टूट नहीं सकता। तुझसे जिंदगी है ये कह रही, सब तो पा लिया, अब है क्या कमी। यूं तो सारे सुख है बरसे, पर दूर तू है अपने घर से। आ लौट चल तू अब दीवाने, जहाँ कोई तो तुझे अपना माने। आवाज दे तुझे बुलाने वही देश। ये जो देश है तेरा, स्वदेश है तेरा, तुझे है पुकारा। ये वो बंधन है जो कभी टूट नहीं सकता।
Pericolo.
है वही जिसमें है छुपी पूरी एक सदी सारी जिंदगी। तू ना पूछ रास्ते में काहे आए है इस तरह दो राहें। तू ही तो है राह जो सुझाए, तू ही तो है अब जो ये बताए जाए तो किस दिशा में जाए वही देश। ये जो देश है तेरा स्वदेश है तेरा, तुझे है पुकारा। ये वो बंधन है जो कभी टूट नहीं सकता।
So you might have noticed now how different it was from a rural life with of the urban life. Okay, so let's have a recap of our chapter. We have learned that urban livelihoods are numerous, ranging from people working on the streets to offices. Then we also have learned something about what occupations pursued by the people can be divided into how primary, secondary and tertiary. Then life of people on the streets is difficult as they have to make all arrangements on their own. Then people working in the offices and government departments are, yes, regular employees who receive a regular salary. Then wage earners are those who earn money on a daily basis and might not get employment on some days. Then at the end we discussed about the migration. Migration of workers from rural areas also takes place, facilitating links between the rural and urban areas. So take care. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye.